What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the podcast. I'm bringing that good energy today. I'm feeling it. So a week or two ago, we posted a video called How Young YouTubers Lie to You. And it really wasn't designed to call people out in particular. It was really just trying to talk about the different ways we can manipulate information to present ourselves in ways that are maybe not entirely accurate. And what I really wanted to do with that video was to give viewers some frameworks for developing critical thinking, to be able to take information, regardless of who it's coming from, what source, to be able to take that information and to examine it critically, to say, does this serve me? Is this accurate? Is this true for me in my context? And to discard the parts that don't apply and to keep the parts that do. And full stop, I want you guys to realize as well, these critical thinking skills are important because I want you guys also to be applying that to what I'm telling you. I don't think that you should just take me at my face value and trust everything that I'm saying or believe as the gospel truth. I'm wrong about a lot of stuff, and I'm sure I'm not entirely truthful in how I present things all the time. So there's always room for improvement here. And critical thinking then is important for being able to move through the world and not being taken advantage of, or just to see it more clearly for what it is. Now, one of the consequences of that video is the reality is that a lot of these young YouTubers, the people that are on there, and there's a lot of them that are just grifters and scammers and people that are just putting out content for the sake of trying to monetize you as an individual and not bring any value. And those aren't really the ones that I was talking about. I was talking about the ones who actually are fairly successful and they did the work, they did the hard work, they put it in, and they have a lot. We have a lot to learn from them. But I also wanted to point out some reasons why they're not necessarily the greatest people to take advice from in a lot of cases. Taking advice from the outliers is not usually a recipe for success because they are outliers by definition, which usually means that their results are not replicatable. It's usually the consequence or the confluence of skills, resources, timing, and just a whole lot of luck, right? And a lot of that's, we can learn from it, we can apply some of it, but it's not always super useful. However, one of the things that I think you can get a lot of use out of from watching these young YouTubers and people just in general who are succeeding farther in life, and maybe for you, that's me. Maybe I'm not for you. Is they can be a great source of inspiration. And I think inspiration is really important, honestly. Now, I'm not a big fan of motivational hoorah, getting all psyched up, though. When I'm low and I'm feeling low energy, I'm feeling just not at my best, I will manipulate my biology by going and trying to get that cheap dopamine from a YouTube video or some motivational, inspirational music. I'm not above trying to gamify or to game my own biology. And so I think inspiration can be great. I think it can be fantastic, but there's also a dark side of inspiration. And this kind of came about in the comment section of that video where a lot of people, they chimed in and they were like, I totally agree with you. These guys are, they made me feel really bad about myself because I looked at them and they were so successful and I realized I'm not far enough along in life and all this. And it was really interesting because that wasn't one of the consequences I saw as a result of making that video. I did not foresee this, where really inspirational people and people that are living their lives and crushing it, they can also be very demotivational for people because you look at them and you just think they're so far ahead. I can never catch up to that. There's no point. I'm so far behind him. It can make you miserable about your own life. And that's not their fault. That's you. And I'm guilty of this too, by the way. We all have heroes that we look up to, regardless of which step you are standing on the staircase. There's always another step higher. It's an infinite staircase, and there's always somebody above you. And we tend to look up and see those people and think, oh, I want to be like them. And I went through that. I went through a period of this recently in the last year, and I shared about this with the Matt Onofrio story. This was the guy who, him and I got into real estate around the same time. And he was just indicted for $35 million of bank fraud. And I share all about that in other podcasts and on the website. So if you guys want to learn about that story, you can go to anthonyvicino.com/fraud. It's really fascinating. But in there, I share how I was demotivated at times because I was looking at his success and comparing mine to it and thinking, oh, I'm not far enough along. I'm not doing well enough. And how that was starting to lead me to some negative places in my own mind and my own actions. And it wasn't helping. It wasn't serving me. And so I think there's a couple key things here to unpack, which is one, when you look to somebody and you feel demotivated because of their success, you're fixating on the wrong part of the equation, which is you're looking at their chapter 50 and comparing it to your chapter 1, and you're saying like, oh, I'm not where they are and therefore I suck. And the truth is, like, everybody's running a race, but how so-and-so places does not affect your place. The only thing that matters at the end of the day, the only thing that you're going to get graded on is how you ran your race. That's it. And so that's number one realization, is that somebody else's success or failure does not affect you. It does not matter because it doesn't enter into the calculus of whether or not you did a good job or not. Number two, when you look to somebody and you allow that to dictate your level of happiness or satisfaction in life, or you look to any external circumstance, it doesn't even have to be a person. It could just be to an event, and you're saying like, if I don't achieve this, I'm going to be unhappy. You're really putting your happiness, your contentment, your fulfillment in life in the hands of something external that you have truly no control over. And I think that's always a losing battle. Like, that's always a recipe for discontentment. And so we need to be very, very careful, I think, when it comes to inspiration, the people that we look to, and we look to them as like a sign, hey, they did it, so can I. Here's how they did it. What can I learn from them? What can I glean? What are they doing differently than I'm doing? And when you go into it with that mindset, then you're learning, you're growing, you're progressing. And I think those are great things. But when you look at them and you just get frustrated and disappointed and get low and depressed about how you're not where you want to be in life, that's the wrong thing to take away from it. So I wanted to share this with you because my guess is that you're a human, and so you probably go through these same ebbs and flows. And just realize, like, just turn the coin to the other side, and don't fixate on the dark side of the inspiration of like being demotivated. Turn it and say, what can I learn? What can I take away from this? What can I improve and apply into my own life to get closer to those same results that I seek? And when you do that, this consistently over time, you just live your life from a place of more contentment, which is great. But two, you're probably, by emulating the behaviors that these other people are doing, you're probably going to start emulating more of their results, or achieving more of their results as well. So I hope this brought you a little bit of value. This is a little bit of a different type of episode, but we're just talking about the value and the dark side of inspiration, which is a little bit weird, but hopefully it brought you some value. If it did, do me a favor, just share it on social media. Share it with somebody that you think would get a little bit of help from the message. If they're maybe in a place in life right now where they're falling prey to the comparisonitis, then maybe just slide this their way. And that's all I got for you guys. So get on out of here. I'll see you tomorrow. I'll see you in the next episode. But until then, stay hyper-focused, my friend.